Hi everyone, Heather here with PersephoneReturns.com, and I am here with your forecast for Tuesday, October 17th of 2017. And today we have a really big shift, a very big transition in the energy. Mercury is actually moving into the sign of Scorpio today, and I love Mercury in Scorpio. I love most things in Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio rising, so it usually gets me, a little fired up, a little more passionate, feeling a little bit better when we have some of these more beneficial planets transiting the sign of Scorpio. But I also love the intensity of it. With Mercury in Scorpio, we become much more fixated and much more focused on whatever it is that we're looking into and whatever it is we're thinking about and communicating about. This is about very deep, very sort of taboo communication. It's secrets being communicated, it's secrets being unveiled and coming out to the surface and being communicated to other people. This is not a time period when we're going to have a lot of small talk and chit chat. People are going to be wanting to talk about deeper topics. They're going to actually want to go there and look at things that normally they wouldn't want to look at. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And it's very, very needed at this time because we're sort of bombarded by all of this information and all of these different catastrophes and rhetorics around these catastrophes. And, everybody's going through their own personal little bit of chaos right now. And so I think it's important that we're able to sort of stop and reflect and go deeper and to look at the things that people don't necessarily want to be looking at right now, because it's important, if we're going to figure out what's going on and how to utilize what it is that we have in terms of the energy and our resources, and to figure out what's really happening in the world and make sense of it, we really need to be discerning. And over the next couple of weeks, people are going to become more and more discerning. And we're going to really be able to get to the core of issues and to the truth of different topics that have been sort of hidden and kept below the surface. This is also, again, secrets coming out, people communicating secrets. People might be revealing more of their true nature to you over the course of the next 2 weeks. And that's going to be true, over the next year with Jupiter and Scorpio as well. But this is really more of people communicating, things coming out and being communicated, written about. In the press, we're going to see a lot more about like conspiracy theory and all of these sort of deep, dark topics that have been hidden below the surface for a very long time are going to start to bubble up, and they're going to become more mainstream just, for the next couple of weeks. So, it's very interesting. I love Scorpio season. I love Mercury and Scorpio, but with Jupiter here, it's going to come up in a way that's more beneficial. It's not going to be like super intense and super scary where people are going to shy away from it. It's going to be more easily recepted. It's going to be more easily taken in and interpreted, and people are going to actually want to dive into these things a little bit more, as opposed to being like, no, I don't want to touch that. That's nonsense, or that's taboo, or, I'm afraid of that. People are going to be less fearful of these kinds of topics moving forward for the next year. And so Mercury in Scorpio is the first planet that's coming in to highlight that. And then later this week, the sun will actually next week, the sun will be in conjunction with Scorpio. So that's going to be, the sun will be in conjunction with Jupiter and Scorpio. So that's going to be a major revealing of the energy. And it's going to show us what the themes are going to be in our own personal lives with this energy of Jupiter and Scorpio. And so, this is going to be the very first taste is this week, where we're going to start to understand a little bit better what's coming up for us. We're going to start to be able to analyze it and to interpret it and to communicate it with other people. So this is us getting our plans together for the Jupiter and Scorpio transit, essentially. And so for that area of our lives. And the people that are going to be most affected by this shift in energy are going to be first off, Libras, because it's coming out of the sign of Libra and into the sign of Scorpio. So that's going to change things up a little bit. The focus is going to be less on you and more on your resources and what it is that you're building and trying to create. But it's also going to be really potent and powerful for people who have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So this is going to be a time period when you're thinking about yourself, your own self-interests, what it is you want to grow and expand on, what it is you want to create over the next year. This is really important, a really important time period for getting plans in order and starting to realize what it is that you want, on a deeper level, what it is that you truly desire deep down inside, because Scorpio is about desire and it's about truth and it's about the core. And, so Scorpio is going to be feeling this pretty heavily. The others that are going to be feeling this are Taurus, because it's going to be in opposition to your sun, moon, or rising sign. And especially Taurus rising people, this is going to bring up issues surrounding relationships, and it's going to show you what you want to create in your close personal relationships moving forward. This is also going to be a really prevalent energy for people who have their sun, moon, or rising in Leo or in Aquarius, because this is going to be squaring your sun, moon, or rising sign. And so this can be a little bit of a difficult energy. It's going to cause you to have to think about things, to have to look at things, to have to expand on things that you don't necessarily want to. It can also cause you to overdo it a little bit with Jupiter there. So that's just kind of something to be aware of. I did actually a video through Astrology's channel about Jupiter transits to the personal planets. So especially if you have any of your personal planets, especially sun, moon, or rising in Leo or Aquarius, I highly recommend that you jump onto that channel and you watch that video, because you're going to get a lot of really good, really more detailed, specific information about what's going to be coming up for you. The other people that are going to benefit from this the most are going to be Cancer and Pisces rising people. And so Cancer rising people, and Pisces, I guess both, this is going to be trining your sun, moon, and rising signs. So this is going to bring a lot more discernment. You're going to be able to think a little bit more clearly. You're going to be able to make better decisions for the next couple of weeks. It's going to really enhance your ability to communicate effectively and to receive communication effectively and to really understand the core meaning of what people are trying to communicate to you. So this is a time period when all of us are really going to be able to understand what's going on below the surface. You know, it's not just about surface level conversation and surface level awareness. We can read between the lines a lot more easier with Mercury in Scorpio. And so that's going to be one of the prevalent themes, is sort of reading between the lines and seeing below the surface, and really being able to tell when people are deceiving us or lying to us or manipulating us. We're going to be able to understand that a lot more easily and do something about it. And we might be communicating to people, you know, about that topic. Maybe somebody has been lying to you. Maybe somebody has not been who they say they are. Or maybe you realize that you're dealing with someone who's very vampiric. And this is a time period when that can really bubble up to the surface, and you can release it much more easily because it's Jupiter there, remember? You can release it much more easily. You can let that relationship go, or you can create better boundaries in that relationship. So, you know, looking at all these different topics over the next couple of weeks, I mean, it's a lot. But yeah, so we have about 2.5 weeks of Mercury in Scorpio. And then the other thing that we have going on today is one of the rulers of Scorpio, Mars, is going to be in an inconjunct aspect with Uranus. And so what this does is it causes us to either overact or overreact, or to act really impulsively, or to want to be very rebellious, or to be disruptive in some sort of way. Or it could be a disruptive energy that comes into our lives that causes us to act impulsively or act irrationally. So this is a fleeting aspect. You know, it only lasts a couple of days, but it's still very intense and very strong because of the two planets that are involved. You know, Mars is very intense and Uranus is really intense. It brings a lot of disruption, discord, chaos, transformation. It causes us to have to change things. So this is really showing us what we need to change. And, you know, the important thing, though, is that we make the changes that we need to make, that we act when we need to act, but we do so after thinking things through, and that we make sure that we're making a decision from a place where we feel grounded and we feel capable and we feel like we're making the right decision. And this is not a time to really act impulsively, even though we might feel like it, because we might feel very frustrated with some sort of situation that's coming up. This isn't really a great time to just jump right into something. Really need to think things through, because acting impulsively can be very disruptive to our lives. It can be very disruptive to the lives of others. And overall, it's not probably going to bring very many benefits to do that right now. So there is a change that needs to happen. There is some sort of innovation, revolution, some sort of new beginning that needs to happen. It could be something minor or it could be something major. It just depends on where this is in your chart and what's going on specifically for you. But just making sure that you're sort of sleeping on it, I guess. Don't act today, I would say, unless you absolutely have to. And, you know, you'll be fine then. Give it a couple days. It'll start to sort of release, and then you can kind of see and look back and reflect and say, okay, well, yeah, I should actually make this change. Or, you know, maybe it's good that I held off because this wasn't the best idea. And so that's going to be affecting, it's going to be affecting people who have Aries, sun, moon, and rising really intensely. And it's also going to be affecting Virgo, sun, moon, and rising, especially if you have your sun, moon, and rising in Aries or Virgo at the end degrees. So around the 25th degree, 26th degree, 27th degree, that's going to be the most intense energy of this. And so, if that means you, definitely try to take things slowly. Don't get too frustrated, and just know that this anxiety, this frustration, whatever it is that you're feeling internally, you know, it's going to pass in a couple of days. So, you know, just hang tight. But in general, overall, like the energy isn't, so bad. And we have the moon actually going void of course in Libra from 4:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time to, which is the same as Pacific time, all the way until 10:39 a.m. And it's going to move into the sign of Libra. And it's actually going to be conjuncting Venus and Mars. So on an internal level, this is sort of activating the Venus-Mars conjunction that came exact in Virgo. It's going to conjunct, I think Venus is still, or Mars is still in Virgo. Yeah, it's going to conjunct Mars. So it's going to be activating that in conjunct, actually. So that's going to bring another layer of intensity where our emotions are involved. So we might feel emotionally unsettled, emotionally frustrated. Our intuition might be a little bit off, and we might feel really compelled based on our emotional reactions to do something and to change something. And again, this is not a time to be impulsive like that. And then it's going to come into conjunction with Venus. So this could involve our emotions surrounding our relationships. And this is, again, activating that Venus-Mars conjunction that came into square with Saturn. So this is us finally starting to move forward with whatever it is that was initiated in our relationships, in our partnerships, in our financial situation, in terms of our pleasure, our desire, our ability to feel good. There's something here that has been initiated, but it's been put on the back burner because Saturn caused us to have to, take a step back, to take things slowly. And so with the moon activating this energy, this is going to be sort of a push forward. And with Uranus in this inconjunct involved, just don't push forward too hard, too fast, and don't change anything too drastically or too crazy all at once, because Saturn's still in the mix and we still got to make sure that we're doing things the right way. Yeah, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about what's going on in the astrology, you can always feel free to comment in the comment section below. And if you want to request a reading with me, the link for that is in the description below as well. And I hope you have a really wonderful day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.